Hello? Hello, test. Can you guys hear me? I'm going to give it a couple more minutes to let people hop on. For the 2 people watching, if you guys have a question in the meantime, I'd be happy to answer them. Thanks, Ursu. Let me know if you have any questions. Going to give it a couple more minutes to let people hop on. Thanks, Chazal. I appreciate it. Right now we only have 4 people on, so just going to give it a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. I'm good. Physically, I feel completely fine. I haven't had any issues. There is a chance that I could bleed again, but other than that, I feel completely fine. That's the weird part. It's just random and it bleeds. But thank you for asking. Where are you from? Thank you. Thank you, Ursu. We got 5 people on now. For those who have just joined, we're letting some people hop on, giving it a little bit of time, and then we'll get started. In the meantime, if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Morocco, very cool. Very cool. I've never been to Africa, but I'd like to go one day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat right now. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat right now. How would I structure a dryline program template throughout the season? We're actually going to go over that in a little bit. We're going to go over this stuff, which I will give to all participants today. Just email aquaticsportsperformance@gmail.com. Email Jim in the subject, and I'll email this PDF to you guys. But we will get into that, Ursu, so hang tight. Uger, how would you build a program for someone that has 0 prior gym experience if their biggest weakness is strength? I would probably start with bodyweight training. So I don't know where you're at right now, but make sure that you can do, full bodyweight push-ups, full chin-ups. You can do an ab wheel rollout. I would start there. And if you can't, then I would reverse engineer the steps and progressions to make sure that you can get there. All right, it's been 5 minutes. Some people are having trouble finding the link. Hopefully they have found it, but I will get started now. So I'm going to be discussing the season for our pros. I'm going to discuss the swim training mesocycles and how we've decided to break it down. So if we look at this Google sheet right now, we are in this phase right here. So our primary focus for this season is US Open, which is December 3rd. That's kind of our focus meet. And me asking about the link. Okay, glad you found it, Dirk. So our primary focus is US Open this season, which is December 3rd. And it kind of fits nicely into 3-4 week blocks. So this is the third block, this is 4 weeks, second block, 4 weeks, and then first block, 4 weeks. We're currently in this phase right now in the second week. The way we kind of structured it, I'm going to go over the swim breakdown first, and then we'll go over the gym breakdown. In terms of the swim breakdown, we did a GPP block here where it was all kind of maintenance. People were on vacation, skill development, GPP, like lots of IM work, nothing crazy. In this phase, we're kind of in this swim strength development phase, meaning we're using the Destro. The Destro is basically towers. I don't know if you guys have seen it on our Instagram, but Destro, they're an awesome company. They make buckets where you can swim with resistance. And so in this cycle, the primary emphasis is on short and heavy. Short meaning we're swimming 10 meters, but the bucket is extremely heavy. So, for example, our guys this morning went 140 pounds in the bucket, which is about a little over 60 kilos. I think it's about 62 kilos. And they're swimming that in about 6 to 7 seconds, 10 meters. So it's pretty heavy. But I kind of wanted to experiment with this kind of short, heavy cycle, and then going medium, where the weight is lighter, but they're swimming up to 15 meters. And then in this last cycle, go 20 meters, but it's a little bit lighter. So we're following this general to specific concept where you start general, and then as you get closer to your championship meet, the tasks that you are executing become more specific to the demands of the race. So longer, lighter, just kind of like you're racing the 50 free. In terms of swim frequency, we're actually only in this phase, we're actually only swimming 4 times per week. And the reason is because I wanted to experiment with getting our athletes stronger in the gym. I feel that our athletes have way more potential in terms of improving their strength in the gym. And I don't think we're at that level yet where all the other guys in terms of strength are in say a top 8 50 free final. I don't think we're there yet. And so I want to spend this 4-week block really developing strength in the gym. And so in order to do that, I think the demands compete against each other. So we're just swimming 4 times and then focusing heavily on the gym. We're in the gym. All these green bars explain when we're in the gym. So we're in the gym Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. We are considering dropping the Saturday lift for some athletes in this third cycle. Some athletes may continue to go in the gym. That's where the individualization will come in using our testing. In terms of the swim, microcycle breakdown, Mondays, kind of skills, very easy. Just coming back from the weekend, we'll do drills and underwater stuff and breath control and nothing hard. Tuesdays, we're off from the pool. We're not swimming except this final week. So if you look here, we're swimming 4 times, 4 times, 4 times, 5 times, and then 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. So I didn't want to jump from 4 to 6 all of a sudden. So I decided to do a 5th swim here, which we'll do on Tuesday. So yeah, we're going off right now. And then Wednesday is the heavy destro day. Thursday is skills. Anytime it says skills for me, I kind of define it as kind of more of an easy day, working on developing skills that make them faster. So basically drills, underwater kicking, dives, all that kind of stuff. And then also kick development. So kick development, meaning we're trying to improve their kick, develop their kick. And then right now, Friday is destro, and then Saturday off from the pool, but we're going hard in the gym. Where are we at? Okay, so in this model, the stress is not consolidated, meaning we're going hard in the gym, hard in the pool, hard in the gym, hard in the pool, hard in the gym. So every day is hard. And so meaning the stress is not consolidated. In this block 2, we're going the stress consolidated model, meaning we're going easy, hard in the gym, hard in the pool, easy, hard in the gym, hard in the pool, easy, hard in the gym, hard in the pool. So that way, when it's easy, they can fully recover, and then when it's hard, they can go hard. We can smash the CNS, and then they'll be okay. And then we go easy the next day. And this model worked really well this past summer. But like I was saying, I want to really experiment with getting the guys super strong in the gym. And so that's why we're doing this model here. And we'll transition in week 4 to this consolidated stress model. Yeah, and then so we're not suiting up much this cycle. I think suiting up does add an element of psychological stress to the system. As soon as you suit up, the athletes feel they have expectations. They have times that they want to hit, and it becomes hard and it becomes mentally exhausting. So I kind of am using this block. We're not taking times that much. We're not setting any expectations because that'll come later. It's too exhausting to do that all season long. Starting block 2, we're going to start suiting up twice a week. And then in the third block, we're going to suit up 1, 2, 3 times per week. Oh, sorry. Twice a week. This is we have a meet here. But yeah, that's kind of our swimming model. So swim strength development, and then we kind of go into a hybrid model where we're doing both destros, but also race pace type stuff. And then that third block is we still have the destro, but it's not as heavy, and we're doing a lot more race pace type stuff off the blocks. Any questions on our swim breakdown? I'll give it 20 seconds. Any questions on the swim breakdown? Okay, no questions. If it pops up, you can feel free to ask in the chat. Okay, going into our gym breakdown. So how do you know that it fits all people? You're talking about the swim model. So this cycle, I'm just having everybody do it. And then this cycle, it's really everyone basically does the same thing, the same overarching thing. Like everyone will do skills on Monday, everyone will do suit and destro on Tuesday. But within the workout, I'm individualizing. So whether someone needs, if they're 100 people, maybe they need to do 75s. If they're 50 people, maybe they need to do 25s or whatever. Oh, talking about personalities, because I think everyone is different. I absolutely agree. I would need a little bit more context to discuss what you're talking about. But in terms of the gym, okay. So first block was GPP. If anyone bought, yes, primarily sprinters. The longest event that one of our athletes does is 100. We joke that the 100 is a distance event. In this first block, we did GPP. I don't know if some people, that program is available on our website for purchase. Some of you guys might have done it. If not, all good. In terms of our swim breakdown, if you guys would like to follow the exact swim program that our athletes are doing, you can actually follow it on ASP Swim. Let's see if I can pop it up. So, sorry guys, give me 1 second. I'm going to drop the link right here. That's the link for ASP Swim. That's the exact swim program that our pros are using to train. And every time I write our workout, I just copy and paste it and then post it on ASP Swim. You guys can check it out there. There's a free 2-week trial. If you like it, you can continue. If you hate it, cancel it. We also have all our drills on there. And then we also post behind the scenes content. For example, like today, we have an athlete, Zen, who is the 50 fly Singapore record holder. He gave some advice on how to break out in a 50 butterfly compared to a 100 butterfly. So we post interesting stuff like that on there as well. And then we have all of our video library of all of our drills. And also there's a chat function in there, which I feel like a lot of our members use. You can go on there, ask any question that you have, so you don't have to wait for a live Q&A like this. There are people who like repeated work, others like diversity, some higher reps, other lower reps. What do you think? Yeah, I agree with you. What I try to do is I try to give a little bit of everything. So I try to repeat stuff. I try to give diversity. I try to give high reps for those that need it, and I try to give low reps for those that need it as well. With that being said, I think it's up to the coach to sell the vision of their training plan to the athlete. So I think what we've done pretty well is all of our athletes are pretty bought into the system. So whatever I kind of say, they will believe in and they will do. So yeah, it hasn't really been an issue. But with that being said, I do try to individualize it for every individual. Sorry. Okay. Gym plan. First block was GPP. We're in this strength phase 1. In this phase, I'm really focusing on, just building strength in the traditional manner. So, trap bar deadlift strength, weight up, chin up strength, power clean strength, the basic gym stuff that you can kind of think of. I'm trying to get them strong in neutral grip seal row, but while also working on the things that help with injury risk reduction. So I actually wrote this with our team physical therapist, Dr. Josh Lowe. There's a lot of prehab, rehab type stuff work in there that he kind of worked and wrote based on what he saw with our pros, and all of that is in the warm up. And actually, the GPP phase was heavy with the prehab, rehab type stuff. So if you're someone who is prone to injury, I would suggest checking out our GPP program on our website. I'll drop the link to those in a little bit too. We're in the strength phase 1 right now. Like I said, we're working more on the traditional type strength stuff, trap bar deadlift, weighted chin up, seal rows, just heavy lifting. And then as we transition into this strength phase 2, I'm going to transition, and it's going to depend on the individual, but more mechanically disadvantageous positions, meaning more basically a fancy way of saying like advanced gymnastics. And then also more the plyo type will change. So I categorize, so you can categorize exercises in many different ways. You can have, you can have horizontal pulling, vertical pulling, horizontal pushing, vertical pushing. But then I also subcategorize a lot of our exercises into mechanically advantageous and mechanically disadvantageous exercises. So for example, if we're talking about upper pull exercises, a dumbbell row is a mechanically advantageous position because the position in which you pull, you're in a mechanically advantageous position. You can pull a lot of weight. On the flip side, say a kneeling straight arm pull down where, you're using a cable and your arm is straight and you're pulling like this, you're in a mechanically disadvantageous position. The absolute load that you can use is a little bit less than a mechanically advantageous position. The reason I switched to mechanically disadvantageous positions as we move through the season is because in swimming, propulsion is created through mechanically disadvantageous positions, i.e. the catch here. Also, the kick is using your hip flexors. That's why I make the change. And especially for pros, like there is a point of diminishing returns in terms of strength. So for example, like if I take someone to a swimmer to a 500-pound deadlift, taking him from a 500-pound deadlift to a 550-pound deadlift probably won't take them from a 21.6 to a 21.3, I probably need to find other avenues of improvement to make them swim faster. So this phase is more about the traditional lifts. And then this phase, we're going to individualize a little bit more, make the positions a little bit more awkward for them. So a lot of gymnastics type work. And then in this phase, we're fully individualizing, and it'll probably be a lot of core, gymnastics, and strength maintenance work. So like the trap bar deadlift stuff, the heavy trap bar deadlift, heavy back squats, heavy power cleans. They're going to move more towards strength speed, meaning we're going to use, bands and chains for accommodating resistance. They're moving the barbell fast. Basically, they're moving weight quickly to be able to transition their strength into power. Disadvantageous exercises? No, not really with power plier exercises. Yeah, no, it's really more for the strength exercises. Yeah, so yeah, this last block is just strength maintenance, and then we're moving weights quickly. Plyotype means basically extensive plyos are where the plyo exposure is repeated. So say like bounds are an example of extensive plyos. Intensive plyos, an example would be you're doing 1 rep and then resting. So 1 jump as hard as you can and then rest. That's an example of intensive plyos. Like right now we're doing like hurdle hops, like jumping over hurdles. That's an example of extensive plyos. And right now in this phase, we're doing a hybrid. We're doing on Tuesdays, it's an intensive plyo, and on Thursdays, it's an extensive plyo. And then after this week, it'll become all intensive plyos. How about the sets and reps? It really depends on the exercise. So for example, like trap bar deadlift, we're only doing 3 reps. Ab wheel, we're doing up to 12 reps. So really depends on the exercise. Like trap bar deadlift, I think they did like 9 sets of 3 yesterday. And then ab wheel was like 3 sets of 12. So it just depends. If you guys want a copy of their gym programs, I will drop the link right here. Let's make sure that link works. You guys can watch me. Yep, it works. So if you guys go here, if you guys look here, the GPP, that's the GPP block that we did. We have one for breaststroke because breaststroke, I believe, is a little bit different from training fly, free, and backstroke. So there's a breaststroke variation to all of these. The phase that we're in right now is the ASP Pro Strength Phase Volume 1. That's what we're doing right now. If you guys want to check it out, it's all here. If you want to check out the GPP phase that we did in the last block, it's here as well. I dropped that link. I believe you guys can see it. If you hate it, like if you don't want it, don't get it. I don't care. But yeah, in terms of the gym breakdown, this is how we broke it down. And if you guys want a copy of this, please email aquaticsportsperformance@gmail.com and just put gym in the subject line, and I'll personally email this PDF to you guys. But you have to email me so I know where to email it to. In the GPP block, this is how I broke down our microcycles. Yeah, I'll type it out. Good idea, Ursu. There you go. Email that, and I'll email this PDF to you. So this is kind of how we broke it down from week 1 to 4. The first movement was a hinge / squat. Second movement was ab wheel variation. And I won't go over all these, but basically we have a video on our YouTube called How to Design a Dryland Training Program. I talk about ratios, movement category ratios. And basically you can have, I categorize like total body movements, upper body movements, and lower body movements. And then I calculated generally, I believe this one had 1, let's see, 2, 3. Yeah, so this one had 3 lower body. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 18 total movements. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 upper body, and then I believe 3 total body or something like that. But basically, you can break it down into whatever ratio that you need. So if you need more lower body exercises, count how many total movements you're going to do that week, and then you can finagle the ratios to however you like. How do I combine general movements and sport specific movements? Okay. So general movements, I do more here, and then the sports specific type stuff kind of come here. But I guess your question would also depend on how you define sports specific. Is it like visual representation of the stroke itself, or is it like a chin up? A chin up would be sports specific because it works the same muscle. So I don't know how you're defining it, but you kind of get the point. Our current block that we're doing, so we were doing 6 total movements per day here. In this block, we're doing 5 total movements. So the volume comes down a little bit because the intensity also goes up. So our primary movement right now is a trap bar deadlift. Our primary movement right now is a low hang power clean. So they have to RDL below the knee, stretch the hamstring before coming up into a hang power clean. And then vertical pull drop set, meaning last Saturday, the athletes tested a 5 rep max on a neutral grip weighted pull up. So they build up to a 5 rep max, and then after they do that, they take 70 to 80% of that 5 rep max, and then they do that for a drop set. So that just helps increase the total volume, the total workload, because they can't hit their 5 rep max multiple times. So they hit their 5 rep max, they drop a little bit of weight, and then they do it again for, I believe, 2 sets of 5 or 3 sets of 5. I can't remember. So that way they get more volume and they can get stronger. So yeah, email me if you guys want this. I will send it to you, and you guys can make your own variation. If you guys want the actual program, it's in the link that I just dropped above, the one that starts with api.grow. So we'll move on to the actual Q&A portion. If you guys have any questions, I will stay on for the next 5 or 10 minutes, answer any questions. Go ahead and rapid fire. Answering questions now for any people who have just joined. We're on the Q&A portion. How to manage mental stress. There's a bunch of different techniques from both a what do you call it, 50,000 foot view, and then also like on a micro view. So a macro view. On a micro view, obviously you have your breathing techniques, progressive muscle relaxation techniques. From a macro view, it's more of the things that I was talking about earlier, like not suiting up this block because it's very stressful, and only suiting up later on. So they're not always stressed out about their times. The main stressor for athletes is expectation, and my job is to try to reduce as much expectation as possible for the athlete. So that's more of a macro view, and then on the micro view, you can get a massage, don't work as much, breathing techniques, eat well, sleep well. Those are more of the micro things. Taking magnesium, all those things are micro, and then on a macro perspective, what I'm trying to think of is how do I reduce the amount of expectations that I set on the athlete. With that being said, if you study attachment theory, people have different ways they manage stress. For example, if you tell the wrong person, or if you tell one person, hey, this is the big meet, we have to get it done right now, one person will absolutely ruin their swim, and then for another person it will pump them up. So you just have to know their personality and then make sure you're saying the right things. How early do you stop lifting / strength training before meet for a full taper? It depends on how you define strength training. So, like for example, Santo, the day of his 50 free finals, he like did stuff in the weight room. Um, I mean, it wasn't much, but we still did something. In terms of like the full blown lifting, I'm actually trying to. I don't have a great answer for you because I'm still experimenting it with myself. I'm gonna try experimenting this U.S. Open by kind of staying in the weight room all the way up until. Obviously, the volume is lower, but um, I think that athletes should strength train all the way up to the meet and then just reduce the volume. Any other questions? I'll answer a couple more questions if anybody has any. If not, what are some skills, swimming and or gym focus, that we have a low threshold but can have big returns? Do you mean low threshold as in to teach, or low threshold as in demands on the body? Like, is it super fatiguing? Because it would depend. I'm gonna assume that it's a low threshold in terms of teaching and coaching. Okay, got it. So, like for example, Olympic weightlifting is a high threshold because it takes a lot to teach to coach it. But some skills, swimming and or gym focused. A lot of swimmers they can probably jump higher. So any kind of loaded jumping, like for an alternative to Olympic weightlifting, is we just do loaded jumps because it kind of does the same thing. That's pretty high bang for buck, and it doesn't take much to teach. In terms of swimming, actually, also in the gym, just getting strong helps because getting strong is low threshold in terms of coaching. You just have to get them strong, and that has pretty high dividends. Um, in the pool, that's a good question. Um, Off the top of my head, we're really working on time to 15 right now because we're finding that we have a pretty high ROI on time to 15. For example, if we just take an athlete from a 5'6" 15 meter to a 5'2" 15 meter, we drop zero point 0.4 off their 50 free, which is huge. I guess that might be high threshold because you have to teach it, but we practice a bunch of starts. If you follow our ASP swim program, you'll notice all of our workouts start with starts and start drills. You try not to be so sore after lifts and stress muscles are lost so you can swim good or not. Ursu, to answer your question, in this current block, the athletes are swimming pretty sore. In the next block, when we go into the consolidated stress model, it'll be less so because they'll be lifting heavy and swimming hard on the same day. Actually, they swim hard first and then they lift heavy after, and then the following day is an easy day, so they can actually swim sore. But in theory, if they did the GPP phase and this phase and the next phase, they shouldn't get sore after lifting because they've been accustomed to lifting all the time. So after you only get sore when you change up the variation, you introduce a new exercise variation, or you start lifting after you haven't been lifting for a long time. That's when you get sore. So in theory, our athletes shouldn't get sore anymore after this. For sprints, you've mentioned specific development exercises and competitive exercises a few times. So that's referring to Bondarchuk's pyramid. If you look it up online, competitive exercise is literally just the event. So for the 50 free, it would be the 50 free. Specific development exercises, it would be in the pool, because under that would be like general stuff. So like gym stuff would be categorized under that. For specific development exercises, it's exercises that are similar to the competitive exercise, which is the 50 free. So an example would be a 25 freestyle or 625 freestyle or a 35 for time. Like anything, it could literally be any set that is at race pace would technically be a SDE. Looking for newer things. Yeah. Inexperienced athletes, just getting them strong will take you a long way. Because unfortunately, we have this problem now where athletes are specializing in their sport so early that they spend their whole life in an aquatic environment, and they actually are it's actually very easy to get people strong. It's like taking an astronaut who has been chilling in space for a long time. You bring them back down to earth, gravity feels heavy, you make them strong again, and the dividends are crazy, because these athletes spent their whole life in an aquatic environment. So yeah, strength, very high ROI, low threshold, in my opinion. Hope that helps. Recommendations for a 2-week break off from swimming, how to get back, and what should I focus on to keep some of the performance? Um, Start slow. If you've been away from 2 weeks, just start slow. Like, you don't need to go crazy on week one, and then slowly build your volume over time. In terms of volume, you want to aim for a roughly, you want to be under 10% increase in volume from week to week. So, my math is terrible. Say you did 10,000 meters in 1 week, you probably don't want to go up to 12,000 meters the week after that. But yeah, start small, and then slowly build up. And then how to get back and what should I focus on to keep some of the performance? I'm not sure what that means. I'm guessing, how can you get back to your performance quickly that you were at before your break? Um, yeah, Dirk. Yeah, Cam is crazy strong. And I talk a lot with Cam about all these things, and I bounce ideas with him, and it's kind of what he does as well. So yeah, Cam's pretty crazy. He's one of the nicest guys ever. Any other questions? I'll give it another minute. If no questions come in, we'll call it there. Taking last questions. Thank you, Ursu. Thanks for joining us. No, we were gonna go to the World Cup. Um, we were gonna go, but it's just not. It doesn't make sense financially for us to spend on the flights and hotel and stuff. So we're just gonna stay here, hunker down, and then go to U.S. Open in Texas in December. Oh, how does my breaststroke vary from other strokes when training in the gym? So if you look at breaststroke propulsion, a lot of the propulsion comes from the lower body. So there's a heavier emphasis in terms of the ratios of the number of movements dedicated to upper body versus lower body. The ratio is a little bit more skewed towards lower body and groin and knee health and all that kind of stuff. So the simple answer is there's more leg training in the breaststroke variation for the gym plan. Marina, thanks for your question. First of all, we're doing a 4 rep max tomorrow, not a 5 rep max. Um, how heavy do you? How heavy? What's your 1 rep max? I don't know actually. Maybe you'll do more than Calvin. I don't know. He would probably cry if you did more than him, Marina. Any other questions? Oh, Marina, we got a fan. Your 1 rep max is 65, Marina? Jeez. Then I would say you could probably do like 45 maybe for 4. I don't know actually. Yeah, I mean, how to get back easily after a 2-week break and how training should look like within those 2 weeks. Yeah, like I was saying, like just start easy, and then slowly build back over time. And you have to lower your expectations of the times that you were hitting before the break. I think that's what kills people is like they expect to be swimming times that they were swimming before the break, and you have to be realistic with yourself. So be kind to yourself. Don't set too high of expectations, especially if you're just coming back. Sid, Nico has a question for you on the live Q&A. Do you want to hop in? Sid's over there. He's gonna come in for the live Q&A. Dirk, yeah, I'm glad. Thank you. How do you measure the 5 rep max in lifts? Like technically, so 5 rep max is the maximum amount of weight that an individual can do for 5 repetitions. And so the way we do it is actually I posted a whole video on ASP Swim if you want to check it out, how we test 5 rep max. But the athletes basically they do body weight, and then they'll hit a weight with a very light weight for like 2 reps, and then they ask themselves, how many reps in reserve do I have? And then they start going up, and then as soon as they feel like that might be their 5 rep max, then they attempt it. Nico is asking, would it make sense for Sid to start training breaststroke due to his insanely strong lower body?
Oh, that's Nico, our Nico.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't do breaststroke so that I won't have to beat you, Nico.
Ouch. All right. Any other questions? I'll give it another minute. If there are no questions, I'm going to hop off. Thanks, Chazal. Have a great weekend. Nico says, I appreciate you, Coach Sid. Giving it another 30 seconds for the last questions. 24 seconds.
Make sure to go watch the season 1 finale, guys. It's up. Got posted yesterday. We're going to start season 2 very soon.
I saw the email, Ursula. I'll email you the PDF in a little bit. Yeah, 15 seconds. Thanks for counting down with me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it valuable. And thanks for supporting our business. Have a great weekend. Bye. Peace.